friends. You may have noticed something a little different about me. I am blonde now. That's something that I am. Spur of the moment. This video is going to be a little difficult to do, I think. This video, I've been planning on doing it for a little bit, but I just haven't taken the time to really sit down and go through my thoughts on this particular topic and why it affected me as much as it did. I got the way that I got, it didn't happen overnight. It's not something that I was very aware was happening until somebody pointed out that I was getting bigger, which I didn't mind so much. I personally don't think bigger is a bad thing. It's my health that was like a frog in a steadily boiling pot of water. You know what I mean? That analogy. I didn't know how unhealthy I was getting until it got so bad that, I could barely function, especially at nighttime. And I know I've talked about this before, but I had a lot of problems at night, especially. Sorry, I'm fixing things. So it was difficult for me to process what exactly I was doing to myself. I know that something was happening. I knew that I was getting unhealthier and that I was really slowly killing myself without meaning to. I definitely would never purposefully do that. But that's what I was doing. I was doing it without meaning to. And unfortunately, it left a lasting effect on my health, especially my digestive system. I have to still take medicine for that, even when I didn't eat anything wrong. Like I didn't eat any dairy or anything. But anyway, I'm getting kind of off track here. Why I think I gained weight let my health slowly decline. Again, I would like to emphasize, I don't think the weight is a bad thing. I don't think my body size was a bad thing, but there was definitely something internal that was affecting my external stuff. I think to put it in perspective, it started with college specifically. My cat's being naughty. Thanks. So it definitely started in college. When I got to college, I weighed around 120, maybe pushing 130. And that was probably the last time that I felt truly healthy. Physically, I think that was the last time I felt healthy. And it wasn't my weight. I was exercising all the time. I did a lot of sports in high school. I had actually been unhealthy as a child, like middle school, leading into high school. I think in 9th grade, I was like 150, but also 5 foot. And like just eating garbage all the time, just whatever I wanted. In high school, I was like, oh no, I'm weak. I can't do anything that I want to do. And I want to play sports with my friends, and I want to do theater with my friends and not be out of breath. So I exercised a lot, and I got on this like super healthy diet, and I was perfectly healthy. I was the epitome of health for a little bit. But then unfortunately, somewhere in sophomore and junior year of high school, I started to obsess over the way that I looked. And I never got this figured out. It's just me speculating as to what was going on. But I think I had a lot of anorexic tendencies. I'm so sorry if that triggers anybody watching this video, but I did. I had a lot of, I think, what leads to anorexia. Which is unfortunate and something that I really worked hard to get over in my senior year of high school because I noticed it. But I broke out of that, and in college, you have nobody monitoring what you eat, what you do, and unfortunately in college I drank a lot. I went out all the time, of course, But then sophomore year, junior year, I didn't go out at all. I maybe went out a few times with people, with friends, but I stayed in with friends, and I went to parties in the same building as me. So I wasn't getting any exercise. And it's funny because I didn't really board eat in college. I didn't habitually eat in college up until senior year. But I will say something that really affects my eating patterns and my sleeping habits and all that is definitely emotional turmoil and, stuff that pushes you to a limit, to an edge that you didn't know that you had. And, I went through a pretty rough relationship junior year. It took quite a while to get over that. But how I coped with it was eating. I just ate all the time, even during the relationship. I would just eat because that was something that we just did together. And it was also a way to control the situation. Like, let's just go out and get something to eat. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Oh, no. Let's not, get mad. Let's just go out and get something to eat. And then come back and watch a TV show. Like I think that was a way I could control how the day went, which is not what you're supposed to do in a relationship. We were both not great in that relationship. On top of that, it was the stress of graduating, and all of my classes when I was a senior were math and sciences, which were my worst subjects, absolutely my worst subjects. But I was very stressed that I wouldn't pass any of those, so to get me through studying and to relieve the tension that I couldn't relieve through academics, I ate all the time. And I would eat while I studied. I would go out and eat with friends. I would drink a lot. And you don't think about liquid calories until you actually sit down and count them. I must have been drinking well over 1,000 calories every weekend. Well over, in a day, in a night, probably. Especially if tequila shots are like 75 calories per shot. Anyway, sorry mom. But I was a heavy drinker in college, especially in the latter years when I was stressed, when I went through a bad relationship, when I actually had something, a really dear friend of mine passed, and I think that's what really drove me, because I was actually trying to get my life back together, and then that happened, and it just led to a string of events that just pretty much ruined me for a little bit, a good bit. But you learn to cope with that grief, but I didn't. I turned to different outlets. I turned to drinking, I turned to constant escapism, and I turned to food. And all three of those could lead to some unhealthy patterns that will continue even when you exit the grieving period. So those unhealthy habits will follow you, even if you feel, I am over it, not over it, but I'm dealing with it, I'm coping with it, but those habits have formed, and it only takes 3 weeks to form a habit, I think, and I did that for well over 3 weeks. There was a point, not even last year, it was last year, there was a point where I was doing like 4 or 5 tequila shots a day for like months. And to the point where my roommates were getting worried. I had one of them tell me that she was worried, and that really jarred me, because I didn't focus on it. I just did it, and it didn't stop until someone was like, hey, this is really unhealthy and we're worried. And that's really what drove me back. But I think if I had to pinpoint a specific thing that caused my unhealthy switch in lifestyle, I would say it was apathy. There was a point that I hit where I couldn't cope with anything. It was too much, it was too overwhelming, and I just did not care what I put into my body. My body wasn't a temple, it was a dumpster, and anything goes. I drank a lot. I would eat a lot, and I would eat the most disgusting food that I can't even stomach now, but it's something that I did. That I, the more dairy I put on something, the better. Maybe it was a rebellion thing, but it was definitely a form of apathy that just took control of everything. It caused me to be lazy. It caused me to, it led me to drinking quite a lot. And I think a lot of my weight gain happened because of drinking. Beer gut isn't just a saying. It's a thing that actually forms. I would also eat a lot of sweet things because they released endorphins, and I needed them, or so I thought at the time. When really, what's a better way to release endorphins? Working out. This is the least amount of stress that I've had, and I will argue that I'm in the most stressful time of my life. But working out and taking a probiotic and just relaxing it probably would have changed my entire life if I had realized that that's what I could do back in college. Things would probably have gone a lot different, and I wouldn't have to be documenting this progress. Although I'm happy that I am, and maybe I could inspire others, but part of me really regrets not taking the time to cope with what I was going through, and not taking the time to sit down and actually deal with what was happening in my life. And I wasn't dealing with it at all. I was ignoring it. I would wallow. I would cry about it and then stop and then cry about it again, probably 15 minutes later, and I would cry to friends and then back off when they showed too much care and concern because it made me uncomfortable. But then I just kept going back to it because I also craved it. And how I handled that was with drinking and food, because drinking and food don't talk. They just comfort, or so I thought. When in reality, what I thought was comforting me was actually slowly killing me. The food that I put into my body was ruining my digestive system. I was in pain all the time, but I thought that that's just how my body was. That wasn't what I was eating, that was my body. Yes, I'm lactose intolerant, but I know lactose intolerant people who can eat cheese all the time. They just get like the poops. They fart a little bit and then they go on with their day. That's not what was happening to me. Then I was eating way too much sugar, and I had teeth problems for a little bit. It just was not a good time. And what I thought was comforting me, what I thought was my safe haven, eating in my bed at noon and not getting up, what I thought was my comfort area was actually just like a prison. Food was an absolute prison. It was an addiction. Don't ever let somebody tell you that you can't get addicted to food, because you can. And I would argue it's one of the worst addictions to have, because everybody needs to eat. Drug addicts, they get addicted to drugs, and it's awful and terrible, and I sympathize, or empathize, whichever one that is like, I didn't go through it, but I really, really care about the people that are going through it. Whatever that term is. That's an awful addiction, but you can go to a clinic where drugs are obsolete. You could go cold turkey on drugs. You can't go cold turkey on food because you need it to survive. So I would argue that it is one of the worst addictions to have, especially if it is something you're heavily addicted to. There's also a concert going on in the city right now, so it's loud. I don't know if you can hear it in the video, but the point is, you can't let yourself get stuck in a cave and forget that there's a way out. You can't let yourself get drawn into this pattern of eating for comfort, because it's not comforting you. You may love food, but over excessive food does not love you. And you can always eat what you want. Like, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I'm not here to tell you, hey, stop eating bad food, because you don't have to. But if you feel awful all the time, and if you are feeling unhealthy, there are ways to get back on track if you can help it. I'm not saying, it'll cure diseases or anything, but it may. Oh gosh, it actually might. But I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole nother video. But yeah, I really wanted to come on here and explain what I've been through, and maybe if someone is going through the same thing or went through the same thing and can't find that light at the end of that really, really dark tunnel, then maybe this could help a little bit. Because when I realized that food was not doing me any favors, I cut back so much. And actually, in that process of getting healthier and happier and drinking more water, I started to realize that I am strong enough to deal with the things that I went through. I am strong enough to deal with the things that I'm going through, the achievements that I'm making, the goals that I'm reaching, even making my bed every morning, which I never did that until I moved to this apartment. I can honestly say that I haven't felt this good in years. And there's some other stuff going on. I mean, there's always things that happen in life. That's life. There's always hardships. There's always something. But I know that because I got through what I did, I can get through this too. And I can do it while being healthy, maybe helping others along the way. I feel like I really needed to get that out there. You can do whatever you set your mind to. I know that's cliche, but it is so true. Except for flying, I wish that could happen. I wish that was a thing. But that's what dreams are for, right? Don't let your memes be dreams, kids. What a great way to end this video. I wish you guys all the best in the world. Such a difficult thing to talk about. Weight is such a difficult thing to talk about. There's a lot of people in my life who cannot handle the discussion of weight. It embarrasses them. And this is what I'll end on. I'll end on this note. Your weight shouldn't embarrass you. It doesn't distract from, it doesn't detract from your value as a person. It doesn't detract from how valid you are, how beautiful you are, how handsome you are. It doesn't do a single thing for that. That's all in other people's brains. You as a person, valid. No matter what size you are valid and you are loved. But if you feel stuck in a rut and you don't like the way you look and you don't feel the way that you want to feel, you're not feeling healthy, you're not feeling alive, it is never too late to start trying. Even if you've given up and you've resigned to giving up, it is never too late to try. If you're going through something, I believe in you and I know you have the ability to turn that around. Thank you for watching, and comment down below if you feel like it. You don't have to, but comment your stories. Everybody keep it nice, the 3 people that comment. But you don't have to, but you can comment whatever you want. You can even do something unrelated. How many birds can you see outside your window? Subscribe if you want to follow along, and I guess I'll end on saying that I weigh 188.4 right now. So yeah, 188.4, pretty sure. That was the last number I saw on there. But so I'm getting over that little plateau hump, so that should be good. That I feel good about that. But I am feeling healthier, doing better. I need to go back to chiropractic therapy because my back is nuts. Having a standing desk has helped so much, but there's still like an issue with my neck. It doesn't curve the right way. Like it's I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a hump, and an x-ray of my neck showed that my neck actually goes like this instead of like this. So, oops. I'm an alien. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful day and a great week. Stay positive because we're all in this together. Goodbye, my friends. I love you all.